The desert sun was merciless that day. I remember its weight pressing down on me as though the sky itself had turned to fire. My throat was cracked, my skin burned, and the iron taste of blood filled my mouth. I lay there in the dust, abandoned. My people, my own tribe, had ridden on without me. In the eyes of the Apache, a warrior too weak to rise, too broken to fight, was already dead. I was supposed to accept it? To let the sand cover me, to let the vultures circle. But my spirit fought against the silence. Even as the wind cut across the wide plains, carrying with it the smell of sagebrush and dust, I clung to life. My heart whispered, "Not yet, not here." I closed my eyes, and in the darkness, I could still hear the echo of the battle. Gunfire. Screams. Horses crying out. And then, nothing. My body had failed, and so my tribe had left me. That is the Apache way. We do not drag the dying behind us. We ride forward. But fate is a strange and twisting thing. When I opened my eyes again, it was not my people I saw, but a man. A stranger. He wore a wide-brimmed hat, its edge casting shadow over eyes that studied me with something I hadn't expected: mercy. His boots were worn, spurs dulled from years of work, and dust clung to his clothes as though he'd ridden through storms. A cowboy. I wanted to spit at him, to tell him to leave me. A warrior should die with her own kind. But my lips were too dry to form words, and all that came was a faint whisper. He knelt beside me, the smell of leather and horse clinging to him. His voice was quiet, almost tender, when he said, "Don't you worry now. I got you." I should have hated him. White men had brought war to my people, had stolen land and blood and freedom. But hate takes strength, and I had none left. All I had was the heat of the sun, the ache of my wounds, and the sound of his voice cutting through it. He lifted me carefully, like I was something fragile. My body screamed in protest, and I wanted to fight, to push him away. But when his arms closed around me, I let go. For the first time since I had fallen, I felt safe. He carried me across the desert, his horse walking steady beside us. I remember the rhythm of his footsteps, the creak of his saddle, the faint jingling of tack. Each sound reminded me I was still alive. He laid me down beneath the shade of a cottonwood tree, its leaves trembling in the hot breeze, and gave me water. Sweet, cool water. It slid down my throat like salvation, and I wept. "Easy now," he said, brushing a strand of hair from my face with a calloused hand. "You'll be all right." For days he nursed me. He built a fire each night, the glow painting his face in soft orange light. He tended my wounds with rough but gentle hands, tearing strips from his own shirt to bind me. At first, I stayed silent, watching him, suspicious of his every move. But silence has a way of breaking under the weight of kindness. One night, as the coyotes called from the hills, I whispered, "Why?" He glanced at me, the fire reflecting in his eyes. "Why what?" "Why save me?" I rasped. His jaw tightened, and for a long moment, he said nothing. Then, in a voice thick with something I couldn't yet name, he answered, "'Cause I couldn't ride on knowin' I left someone behind. Doesn't matter who you are. You're a life worth savin'." Those words settled deep in me, stirring something I thought had died with the tribe's departure. In the days that followed, I learned his name: James. He was a drifter, a man who had lost more than he cared to admit. His wife had died years before, fever taking her in the night. He had no children, no land to call his own. Only a horse, a rifle, and the open sky. and me. I found myself watching him when he wasn't looking, the way his hands moved steady as he whittled wood by the fire, the way his voice softened when he spoke to his horse, the way he carried sorrow in his eyes but never let it break him. I was a warrior, raised to fight, to stand tall in the face of death. Yet with him, I felt something different. A warmth that frightened me more than any battle ever had. Still, shadows lingered. My people had left me for dead. To them, I was already gone. And he was the enemy, wasn't he a man of the same blood that had spilled across our lands? My heart warred with itself. But each time I faltered, he was there. When nightmares tore me awake, his hand steadied me. When pain made me grit my teeth, he whispered that I was stronger than I knew. And one morning, when the sun rose over the desert, painting the sky in hues of fire and gold, I realized something. Life had given me a second chance, not through my tribe, not through war, but through the mercy of a cowboy. When I could finally stand, leaning on his arm, he smiled at me in that quiet way of his. "There you go," he said. "Strong as the land itself." In that moment, I knew I had been wrong. I had not been abandoned. I had been led here to him. To a man whose heart was wide as the prairie, whose mercy had stitched me back together. I do not know what the future holds. The world is still harsh, and we are still from different worlds. But I know this, in the silence of the desert, beneath endless skies, a bond was forged. A bond between an Apache warrior woman left for dead, and a cowboy whose mercy gave her life again. And sometimes, that is all the frontier asks of us. To survive. To forgive. To love, even when it seems impossible. Because love, like the desert sun, burns brightest when the world tries to turn it dark.